Okay, glad that's over. That game had all the electricity and excitement of a wet fart. Let's do some radio. Well, David, I'm just saying it was clear San Francisco didn't want to be here.
They landed and said, yeah, don't expect us to play today.
What a lick the stamp routine that was. And look, guys, here's where I'm at with it, right? I've captained the pennant chase. I have tried. And this team isn't playing terrible ball, but they're not gaining any ground. In fact, they're losing ground. We come to you today humbly broadcasting they're 7 out. And I have to tell you today, it's the white flag is up. And it's a big week for Scott Harris. I think weeks like this are going to define what the next few years of your franchise is. But see, I don't want to do this topic where it's kind of lazy. Like, that's a no bleep opinion. We can do better than that. So we will. I want to ask you how far you're willing to go. So here's how this is going to work. If you don't want to sell and you're still on the pennant chase boat, fine. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not judging you. We just have a disagreement. And I waited, but the reality is this team is probably playing the best ball they can play, just above 500, right? Like something to the tune since the 9-game losing streak of 18-15-ish. It's not bad baseball. It's not really good baseball, but it's probably what this team is best capable of. Remember, we talked about a division that could a 500 team win it. Well, now you look up, and the Twins are 5 games over 500. The Guardians have crept to 500. You're still 9 games under. So here's what I want to do. It's a question of how far are you willing to go. Reports are everywhere. So let's do this. Here's my list of tradable Tigers. Guys that have been mentioned in rumors, guys that it makes sense to move, maybe guys that doesn't make sense. But how much leeway are you willing to give Scott Harris? For instance, the first name on the list is Erod. I think most Tiger fans would say, barring some form of like Joe Smith secret contract, wink and a nod, I'm not opting out, or an extension outright, you have to trade Erod. Whether you were in the pennant chase or not, you'd have to deal him because you can't lose him for nothing. So Erod would be one. The next guy I can't believe I'm listing, but I have to. It's Michael Lorenzen. Right, these are big Italian rumors. No, but like Michael Lorenzen, there's interest. The Rays are into it. Houston's into it. Michael Lorenzen, saddest all-star of all time. Bottom line, he's pitched really well lately. And teams that are desperate for some starters, maybe a back-end piece. You don't have to have a bullpen day. You don't have to go through and call a kid up. Lorenzen. Now, this is where it's going to start to really hurt you. Jason Foley. See, I don't think people realize it, but a month ago I would have told you it's Alex Lang. Foley has actually been the better reliever. Foley is 2 years out from arbitration, meaning you pay him the league minimum. And Foley, a lot of whispers out of New York that the Yankees might be sniffing around Jason Foley. Alex Lang. Again, I think Alex Lang's pretty awesome. I know he's been a little bit rough lately. Bottom line, still coveted, still 2 years out from ARB. That's an attractive guy. Arbitration 2025. Now I don't need Alex Lang to be my closer. I'm a playoff team. I can bring him in the 7th. I could bring him in as a fireman in the 6th. Somebody's going to want that. Then the latest reports that according to multiple baseball writers, there is a, quote, robust trade market for the cousin of JC, the Carpenter himself, Kerry Carpenter. Now, here's your problem. Kerry Carpenter's under team control through 2029. But how high is the ceiling? What if this is a little bit of a flash in the pan? What if his value's higher now than it will be? And what if a team is willing to do some dirty things for Kerry Carpenter? So here's my question. I've given you a list. of the Fab Five, so to speak, what I deem to be the 5 trade pieces Scott Harris has to work with, how many of them are you willing to trade? Are you willing to say, Scott Harris, I trust you. Scott Harris, do what you do. Because unlike Alavila, you have a brain. Do what's needed. See, for me, because this isn't just a, hey, what's your favorite pickle? For me, I'd allow Scott Harris to deal all 5. Now hold on, work with me. I'm not demanding that. I'm not saying he must or he's this. No. I'm saying that if I'm selling and if I believe Scott Harris is who I think he is, unlike Alavila, who usually would get in return a pair of knockoff Jordans and an empty Coke can, Scott Harris will win deals. So I'm saying, A, none of them are off the board for me. Now, the Carpenter one is interesting, and I heard Stoney bring this up this morning, and I think it is at least intriguing in this manner. Let's say I got a call from a team, and they need a pitcher and they need a bat. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at them, and I'm going, wait, let me get this straight. You want Jason Foley, who I pay in, $5 bills, and not even, 2 years of arbitration, before arbitration, excuse me. And then you want Kerry Carpenter because you need a left-handed power bat, shows a little bit of taco meat, only buttons about 3 of the buttons on the jersey, right? You need a little swagger? Oh, team control till 29? Well, here's what you're taking. May I introduce you to Harvey Baez? See, those are the types of things where I'm not going to say no. And again, that's probably a non-starter for every team in baseball. But all I'm saying is this is the big week. I have waved the white flag, and I'm willing to put all 5 of these guys on the block. How many do I need to see traded to really feel good about Scott Harris? 2. I think this is what I do every trade deadline. I'm guilty of it. You find all these assets that you have, and you want to do a liquidation sale like a furniture store. Well, that generally doesn't happen. But I need Erod traded, and I need Lorenzen traded. The last 3 guys on that list of Foley, Lang, Carpenter, you got to destroy somebody. It's got to be a return. Like, I'll give you an example. For Jason Foley, the only thing I'm accepting for that, you're going to give me a damn MLB, near MLB ready, AA, AAA guy. You're going to give me a player that I'm calling up and that is going to immediately become, fingers crossed, a member of my everyday lineup. And if a team doesn't want to give that to me, too bad. Because I can open next year with Foley and Lang in my bullpen. Then go to free agency. Now, here's the thing. I think I have at least a tiny read on Scott Harris. It's pretty clear he doesn't value relievers. He's willing to spin a wheel. It's like a big Price is Right wheel with this guy. And that's fine, because you better be able to find more. But if we're grading this out at the end of the week, David, how many of the 5 guys I listed do you need to see traded to feel like this was a good deadline? Now, I said 2. I fought every urge to say 3.
No, I'm saying 3. I'm saying 3.
I know, but there's got to be a market.
Erod, Lorenzen, Foley, or Lang is what I'm saying. Those are the 3. I'm only trading Kerry Carpenter if you can attach Harvey. I'm sorry, not Javi. Harvey Baez. If you can attach Harvey to that deal, then yes. But otherwise, no, I'm keeping Kerry Carpenter because for some reason I'm falling for the end part of John Morosi's tweet over the weekend where he says the Tigers view Carpenter as part of their future and believe they can contend sooner rather than later. That contend sooner rather than later, I'm falling for it. This division is bad. While we're not going to win it this year, I don't think we're that far off. So we can compete real soon. So that's why I don't want to trade Kerry Carpenter. So I do believe we can win sooner than later after this season.
And let's face it, a left-handed bat under team control through 29. Like, guys, I am not mad if you don't move him. you got to be overwhelmed. A team has to have a read on Carpenter, and they have to offer you something that tangibly makes you better. And again, do I think Carpenter profiles as an everyday player in the field? No. I have some news you can use. As soon as that decrepit $32 million nothing burger Cabrera is out of here, Kerry Carpenter might be your DH every day next year. Now this is where it gets dicey. I don't know what Scott Harris's value is going to be on a player who doesn't play defense. Because in his mind, if someone offered me, again, if there's a, quote, robust market, you would have to offer me a player that is going to play the field, that is going to make me better, that has a chance to be a better WAR player than a guy who probably profiles as a DH. But I'm not mad either way there. And I don't know how much I buy that. Do we really believe teams are lining up for Kerry Carpenter?
I don't think they're lining up. No.
Nice player.
No.
Like, I'm happy to have him, and I'd like to see him continue to develop. But, like, I love trade deadline articles. There's a robust market. Okay, take it easy.
And robust, what is it, 3 teams?
Yeah.
I don't think that's robust.
Someone called and said his name. Is that robust? But for me, it's Erod. It's Lorenzen. I think the Foley and Lang stuff is fascinating. Of these players, do you know who I think you can get the best return for? It's probably Foley. David, if you have a reliever that you can pitch in high leverage situations, as a playoff team, you add a guy like Foley. Let's say you have your closer and you have your setup guy. You know what Foley does? Turns it into a 6-inning game. Because now that's my guy. Now I got a 3-headed monster to close these games out. There's such value in these players. But to your point, division's bad.
Yes.
So next year, is there any harm in having a bullpen that features Foley and Lang? No.
No, it isn't
no harm
at all.
at all. But this is a delicate balance, David, because the value goes down on Foley if you don't trade him now based on 2 years where another team gets to pay this guy nothing versus 1. Same thing with Lang. Carpenter, it wouldn't matter. He's got such a runway, it wouldn't matter. For me, it's Erod and Lorenzen. Both of them have to be gone. Now, what can you get for them? Do you end up having to attach a piece to them to get what you really want? This is what you get paid to do. This is why Scott Harris is paid. This is what he's here to do. But I'd like to know where you guys are at with it. If you're maintaining your position of the pennant chase, God bless you. I'm out. Training camp has started. This team's 7 out. I'm good. But I want to know where you are. How deep into that list are you willing to go? What is your bare minimum for Scott Harris at this deadline? Like, what do you need to walk away with? And the minimum, he'd have to move 2 of these players. It really does not behoove him or the franchise to hold on to Erod when I think any agent worth their salt will have him opt out. And Michael Lorenzen, the value will never be higher. The other 3 pieces are good debate points. And I think it just comes down to how much can you hurt another team? I mean, relievers at the deadline are some of the most lopsided deals in the marketplace. Do I think if Scott Harris is sharp, you could bury somebody moving Foley? Yeah, I do. But you got to find that huckleberry. 248-539-9797. We got a lot of good stuff today. I saw my life flash before my eyes with Lions training camp earlier. We'll talk about it. We have the hype train out of control. That's from Dan Campbell. We're going to talk some Lions. Got a football today as well. But I wanted to start with the baseball, the makeup game today. Yes, they won. They're losing ground even though they're playing better. It's probably time to fold up the tent. And I want to know what your expectations are for trade week. 248-539-9797. We'll get some phone calls, get some ticket texts as well, and get you football as we head towards 5 o'clock.